Welcome back Friday morning for video number 3. This is our palette cleanser. This is where we get to talk about the fabulous real working royals and their relatives. Let's jump in and cover it, shall we? Let's go. So I finished my last video talking about Andrew yesterday, so let's pick up where we left off. We know that King Charles is canceling Andrew's contract for security starting in October. However, it appears that Andrew, the Duke of York, has found a mobile security team as a compromise due to the escalating costs, and that way the property will be well protected. So we have ensured, apparently, King Charles has ensured that no taxpayer money is being used to cover Andrew's security costs. So at least he's found a way around it, and, good for Andrew. All right, let's move on. I love this story. A few days ago, William and Catherine took Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Louis, who's now 6, to the Gone Wild Festival at Holcombe Hall in Norfolk. And while they were there, there was a Nerf war with toy guns and some smoke bombs. Apparently, Catherine joined in the fun. She grabbed a Nerf gun. She was running around playing, stuck in the mud with her kids. I love that. Louis was apparently running around going, Nerf or nothing, let's do this. How wonderful is that? Now, before people start screaming, where are the pictures? It was reported that Catherine and William asked people not to take pictures. This was a very low-key family event. And of course, nobody took the pictures. And because nobody knew they were going to be there, there was no press coverage. And it was a nice, quiet day for the family. I love that. All right, let's move on. Next up on the 17th, Princess Beatrice and her fabulous husband, Edo, were seen walking around through London. She looked so nice and so comfortable. And so, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't always have to dress up. She was just, casual, out with her hubby. Absolutely love it. I love these two. Now, on the 19th, King Charles arrived and inspected troops at the baklava company. That sounds like baklava, the stuff that you like to eat. Anyway, they were the 5th Battalion of the Royal Regiment in Scotland outside the gates of Balmoral Castle. And this happens at the start of his stay at the Scottish residence. When he got to the end, he met up with the mascot. This is the same mascot. I've shown you guys videos before of Harry teasing this poor little pony until it literally tried to bite him. But obviously it got along better with Charles. Moving on. Next up, the very first £1 coins that have King Charles on them entered circulation. And of course, the coin made a nod to Charles's passion for conservation. Almost 3 million coins were made, and the other side of the coin has a pair of British bees in honor of King Charles' passion for conservation and the natural world. And of course, King Charles's head is on the other side. I love that. 7 other coins ranging, from 1p all the way up to £2 are the same. They were inspired to reflect King Charles's commitment to the environment. Now, this is interesting. The new coins will circulate along with the ones that have Queen Elizabeth on them, and those will be replaced over time as they become damaged and worn. And so the new designs will be introduced in line with the demand for them. I love it. All right, next up, we know that the king is in Scotland, and Sophie and Edward were pictured walking near Holyrood Palace. I love them too. A big thank you, as is usual, to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything that Sophie was wearing. We know that the reason they were there is this is the time when the whole family gets together, and that includes you guys. Andrew, we talked about this yesterday. He's still a member of the family, and he's still going to show up. That's what it is. Now, on the 17th, this is interesting. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh went to attend Sir Mark Elder's final performance as musical director of the Hall at the Edinburgh International Festival. Again, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything she was wearing. Next up, we have Queen Camilla. She was out in a Scottish village with her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, and a number of her grandchildren. She was seen just kind of walking around. Could you imagine? You're just walking around. This is the village closest to Balmoral. castle. You're just walking around and suddenly there's the Queen standing there. Amazing. All right, sticking with King Charles now. He was greeted by hundreds of people in Southport this past Tuesday because he went to go meet with those that were affected by last month's knife attack. Several members of the crowd who'd been waiting apparently for hours, cheered and applauded when he arrived at the Southport Town Hall. He was also met with survivors of the rampage that killed those 3 little girls in northern England. There were flowers and teddy bears, and there was a book of condolence for him to sign. Now, this is a little seaside town northwest of Liverpool, and he did have a private meeting where he heard the experiences of some of the children. This was a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. And it's been reported that Taylor Swift herself met with the community because of the 3 little girls, Bebe King, who was 6, Elsie Stancombe, who was 7, and Alice Aguiar, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who was 9 years old. Now, the king also met with the first responders, and there were a lot of them who attended to the scene when all of that happened. There were regional leaders there and frontline staff that represented the police, fire, rescue, and ambulance services, and they all met at the Southport Community Fire Station. Remember, 10 others were seriously injured during this attack, including the yoga teacher, who, by the way, in case you're unaware, was recently readmitted to the hospital. We all know from the pictures that the town's emotions were absolutely raging. Everything is still raw. There was just a lot going on there at the time. People had just had enough of these random attacks on all these, people. And 20 days, as I reported earlier, but now it's 20 days after that attack at this show that Taylor Swift herself met with a few of the survivors before her Eras tour, I don't know how you say that, on Sunday at the Wembley Stadium. So King Charles viewed a public memorial to the 3 girls at the Atkinson Arts Center before speaking to the survivors of the attack and their loved ones. And in case I didn't mention it earlier, besides the emergency services members who were there, King Charles also spoke with some local faith leaders of different religions who were also there. So if I understand this correctly, they have the teddy bears and all the stuff out there, and then they bring it in bad weather, and then they turn around when the weather's nicer and they put it back out, which I think is just about one of the sweetest things I've ever heard. And eventually, I'm sure that all those teddy bears will be donated to local hospitals and, to help other children. Now, after his visit on Tuesday, then I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, that King Charles met with the grieving families of the girls who were killed in that attack at Clarence House. So he had them privately in his London home after, I believe it was the day after. I just think that's really nice of him. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell for all notifications. Go down into the description box. You'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, my Amazon wish list, and a physical address in case there's something you want to send. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.